Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Armageddon. We're getting ready for the Arena Open this weekend, so we're going to play some Bloomburrow Sealed. Bloomburrow Sealed is what is going to be played on the first day of the Arena Open, so we're going to get some practice in. So without any further ado, let's see what we open. Okay. Alright, so we got one of the special guest cards. I don't think Kindred Charge is very good. It's very expensive for what it does. It's kind of an overrun effect where you create, if you have a bunch of creatures of the same creature type in play, you create token copies of them. If you have a lot of the same type of creature in play, it could be good. But it's also red, and red is not one of the strongest colors in Bloomburrow, it's generally thought. What else have we got? Valley Flood Caller. That's a reason to be in blue, although blue is widely regarded as one of the weakest colors in Bloomburrow Limited. Salvation Swan is fine in white. Kidnap is decent removal in blue. Lunar Convocation is strong if you're in black-white. Dream Dew Entrancer is, I'm led to understand, one of the best rares in the set, so that certainly incentivizes us to play green-blue, and that would actually allow us to play our other two blue rares. War Leader is also one of the biggest bombs, so if we could end up in rabbits, green-white rabbits, and play it, we would be pretty happy too. So let's see what our other cards support. Okay. Looking at our white, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to play our white rares. We just don't have very many white cards. Pileated Provisioner, I'm led to understand it's fine in green-white, but poor outside of it. Waxway Witness is whatever. Rapid Response is a fine one-of finisher in go-wide decks. Dewdrop Cure, well, we don't even have any creatures with mana value 2 or less in white. And you definitely want a critical mass of those if you're going to play any kind of aggressive deck. Although Sealed tends to be less assertive than Draft, just because you're working with what you open rather than being able to build a streamlined synergistic deck. So we do have some good cards in white, but we don't have very many cards in white. And unfortunately, War Leader is, with its mana cost being double white, it's difficult to splash, so I don't know if we'll be able to make that work unless we have very good fixing. And the fixing is not regarded as all that great in this set. Salvation Swan actually would be a fine splash if we end up in blue-green frogs, which wants to blink or bounce its own creatures anyway. I mean, imagine playing the Dream Dew Entrancer, or whatever it's called, and then playing the Salvation Swan and blinking it the next turn. That seems pretty cool. Let's look at our blue. We do have quite a few cards in blue. Now, unfortunately, blue is not very strong in general in this set. Night Fisher. I mean, we had that one bird in white, which we weren't particularly excited to play to trigger Night Fisher. I don't see a lot of frogs cards in this pile. Long River Lurker is a good card in the Frogs deck, but you want to be bouncing frogs with it. Valley Floodcaller works well in frogs or any blue deck. Thoughtchucker is pretty mediocre. We also don't have very many 2-drop creatures in blue. I mean, we have more than we have in white. And the Thoughtchuckers are at least half-decent blockers. Gossip's Talent can be a build-around card, and you might be able to make it work better in Sealed than in Draft. But I'm really not sure about Gossip's Talent. And again, it's kind of a Frogs card based on its level 3 ability. In black, I don't think we have what it takes to play lizards. We just have the one lizard and only one other 2-drop creature, although Starscape Cleric is fine in lizards because it's an aggressive, evasive threat. Ravine Raider is fine, but not exciting. Scales of Shale is good, especially in lizards, but it's actually fine outside of it. Stargaze, apparently not that great, at least in Draft, but it might be better in Sealed. I do like our removal. We have a feed the cycle, which probably for us will be 3 mana most of the time, but it's unconditional removal, and we do have 2 copies of Savor. So we don't have many black cards, but I like a number of the ones that we do have. Thornplate Intimidator is pretty mediocre, I think. Hazel's Nocturne is decent recursion. Not a lot of creatures in black, mind you. 3 creatures. So if we are playing black, we'd have to hope that the color we pair it with has a lot of creatures. Could work with blue. I think we had a lot of blue creatures. Let's see how red looks. Red doesn't look half bad, although the problem with red is that we don't have any of our most powerful cards, our rares, in this color, because Kindred Charge doesn't really count. We have the most 2-drops. I'm not sure how good Coruscation Mage will be, since we won't have a critical mass of spells that we would have in a draft deck. Raccoon Rallier, I don't think is even that good in the Mice deck, which is probably the only deck that really wants it, and it's even worse outside of Mice. 2 copies of Steampath Charger. Not exciting, but it's a decent 2-drop. Blacksmith's Talent is actually better than it looks. I don't think we have any mice to trigger Valiant with, but turning all of your creatures, every time you play one, into a double striking haste threat that's +1/+1 is actually pretty good. So Blacksmith's Talent, having 2 of them is actually not that bad. Roughshod Duo is fine. Elania's Pathmaker is decent card advantage, and it's a bigger body. The 4 power is pretty nice. Not a lot of removal. Conduct Electricity is kind of clunky, but it can be a 2-for-1, and it's instant speed. Blooming Blast is okay, but not great. Playful Shove, there's a lot of 1/1 tokens running around. First, all of the white cards that make 1/1s, and then all of the offspring cards. So Playful Shove can actually have a lot of targets, so it's not that bad, and it draws a card. So red's not looking terrible. I'm hoping green is one of the strongest colors, so I'm hoping we're well supported in green. Oh dear. I think the only token making I've seen with Druid of the Spade is the Saber in black, which makes food tokens. Druid of the Spade, I don't even think is very good in green-white rabbits, which is where you have the highest density of tokens. It's certainly not any good outside of it. Honored Dray Leader is basically a black-green squirrels gold card, and we didn't have, I don't think we had any squirrels in black. Sticky Tongue Sentinel, that actually works really well with Hunter's Talent because Hunter's Talent is the mythic uncommon of the set. So opening one of those is definitely a pull into green, even though we don't have very much green. Because you can play Hunter's Talent, kill an opposing creature with it, and then pick it up again with Sticky Tongue Sentinel and play it again. So that's pretty busted. And then Hunter's Talent, if you get it to level 3, basically draws you a card at your end step every turn and eventually wins the game. Heaped Harvest is good if we want to splash, which is a little more splashing you basically don't want to do. You want to have a streamlined 2-color synergistic deck in draft. But in sealed, there's more incentive to splash since you're not likely to have as synergistic a deck. And so you want to be able to play as many of your best cards as possible. Overprotect is a good combat trick. We're playing best of one, so Paw Patch Formation probably doesn't make the cut, but it's a great sideboard card because it destroys enchantments, and honestly might even be worth main decking because so many of the talents are so powerful. Cash Grab is probably one of the surprisingly best green commons, maybe the best one. 3 Longstock Brawls. We don't have many creatures in green, and none of them are particularly big, so Longstock Brawl doesn't look that great. I think the only one it's any good with is Sticky Tongue Sentinel. Sunshower Druids are basically frog gold cards. You don't want to play them in any other deck. And Stocking the Pantry, I'm actually in a sealed league being run by another content creator, and that deck has Stocking the Pantry in it, and it's won me a few games, but I haven't seen enough +1/+1 counter synergies in what we've seen so far to make me think that Stocking the Pantry will be any good here. I mean, we'd have to play Sunshower Druid, which is suboptimal, and Honor Dray Leader isn't going to trigger that often. So it might not be making the cut here. Now let's see what we have in colorless. We have Uncharted Haven. That can be good for fixing, or just in a 2-color deck to smooth our mana. Fountainport Bell is a mediocre way of getting fixing, but it is a way of getting fixing, and it's an artifact that goes to your graveyard for Threshold, which is a mechanic which cares about if you have at least 7 cards in your graveyard, or for Forage, which you either sacrifice a food or exile 3 cards from your graveyard in order to enable the Forage mechanic. So it has some synergy, and it might be better in sealed than in draft. 3-Tree Mascot is extremely mediocre fixing. Between the two, I'd rather play Fountainport Bell and not play 3-Tree Mascot. Although, to be honest, with the lack of 2-drops in most of the colors we've seen, we might have to play 3-Tree Mascot anyway, just so we have something to impact the board with on turn 2. Alright, now let's see what the gold cards are. Head of the Homestead is powerful in either green or white, so that could be a reason to play green. Junk Blade Bruiser is fine. It's really best in green-red, which is its natural home based on its hybrid mana cost, but you could play it in either green or red. And this is good, or at least decent, with those long stock brawls and the Hunter's talent we have in green. Starseer Mentor, I didn't see, other than Lunar Convocation, which we can spend to pay life, I didn't see much ways of losing or gaining life on our turn, and it's apparently not even all that great in the Orzhov Bat stack, so probably not worth splashing. Seed Pod Squire, I mean, it's a 3/3 flyer, which is not nothing. I think we did have a decent number of blue and green cards, which certainly incentivizes us to play Dream Dew in Trancer. Now, I didn't see much green fixing. We'll take a look at that. We'll go back to green. I think it was just the Heaped Harvest, so I don't know how much we're going to be able to splash. So we might have to play base green-blue in order to be able to be sure we can cast Dream Dew, in Trancer. Pond Prophet. Its hybrid mana cost means that it's basically a green-blue gold card because it's hard to cast on curve if you're a different green deck or a different blue deck. But it's really good in frogs. You kind of want as many of those as you can get. So Pawn Profit is actually an incentive to play blue-green frogs. Burrowguard Mentor, not really splashable. You really want to get this down early and then grow it as quickly as possible. So it really is best in green-white and not really something you want in a different splash in a different color pair. Tidecaller Mentor, you kind of want to play this early, although at least it has a decent ability late in the game. We could splash that if we maybe splash some of our black removal. Cindering Cutthroat could be played in an aggressive red or black deck. Its best home, of course, is in black-red lizards, but I think it's less good in sealed since you tend to have less synergistically aggressive decks. Didn't see too many ways of bouncing our creatures either. Might have even just been the Salvation Swan in white. Oh, Sticky Tongue Sentinel. I forgot about that. Playing Pawn Profit on 2 and then Sticky Tongue Sentinel and bouncing Pawn Profit on 3 is a fine play. Let's take another look at our blue. We have Run Away Together to bounce creatures, and that is it. Oh, Long River Lurker. Mind Whisker can be powerful if you can enable Threshold. Night Whirl Hermit is mediocre. Our removal in blue, apparently Dire Downdraft and Into the Floodmaw are the best blue removal spells. I mean, Kidnap stealing the opponent's best creature is not the worst. We could splash the black removal. I think we have enough fixing to do that. And maybe Hazel's Nocturne. I mean, Saver you generally want to be able to play early, but it can also be used as a combat trick late. Stargaze with the double black I don't think is a splashable card. We could splash Dire Sight if we want some card draw, which card draw tends to be better in sealed. And I didn't see any card draw in blue. No, in fact, we have more card draw in green than in blue with Hunter's Talent and, well, I guess the green-blue Pond Prophet. Since we don't have that many ways of bouncing our creatures, if we do play blue-green, I'm not sure how many Sun Shower Druids make the cut, so I don't think stocking the pantry is going to be good. So let's try building blue-green, since Dream Dew Entrancer is one of the strongest cards in Bloomburrow Limited. And we'll see about splashing as well. The villages actually can be real drawbacks because they only tap for colorless mana for your non-creature spells. So they can really set you back if they're your only blue source early. Or even if you want to cast multiple spells of the same color and you can't because one of your lands is one of the villages. So I don't think I'd play Lily Pad Village, even if I am in blue. The ability is fine as a mana sink late, but not really that exciting. Dazzling Denial is fine. I think that would make the cut. Gossip's Talent. That is a way of blinking creatures repeatedly. Like, imagine leveling this up to level 2 and then level 3 and attacking with the Dream Dew Entrancer so it can't be blocked, and then blinking Dream Dew Entrancer. That seems pretty nice. I'm not sure about this, but I think we'll try Gossip's Talent. I think we want to run away together. Might have to play the Thought Chuckers just to have early 2-mana plays. We'll want Long River Lurker. Mind Whisker is one of the more generically powerful blue cards and can have a real impact on combat, since, as 17 Lands has shown, the creatures in Bloomburrow are mostly within a narrow range of power and toughness, so the -1, -0 really has a big impact on the game. Don't think we play Night Whirl Hermit. Dolly Floodcowler is a good blue rare. Kidnap. I mean, Nightfisher is a big bird, but we're never going to trigger it because we won't be playing any other birds unless we splash the Salvation Swan, which I think we only want to splash one color. Maybe. So I think we leave Nightfisher on the sidelines. Eddie Mert Crab. I mean, we have only 3 instants so far. So Eddie Mert Crab is not going to get a big discount. It would be one of the bigger creatures in the deck if it's in there, and its ability is pretty useful, so maybe it's worth having. And if we splash black, it'll be more likely to have more instants and sorceries, since I think that's what we would be splashing. We'll wait to decide if we want to splash black, depending on the other cards we look at. I could consider blue-red or green-red, but we'll look at blue-green for now. Not sure how many long stock brawls we would want to play. I think we'd want 1 Sun Shower Druid. Cash Grab, we basically never get the food token, but it fills the graveyard, in our case, for Threshold with Mind Whisker, and maybe the blue-black Mentor if we splash it. It also fills the graveyard for Eddie Mert Crab. It's an instant itself. So we'll try it. Hunter's Talent, of course, Overprotect. Maybe Paw Patch Formation, not the Druids, Heaped Harvest, Sticky Tongue Sentinel. That could be fine. Junk Blade Bruiser, Head of the Homestead, Pawn Prophet, Dream Dew Entrancer, Fountain Port Bell. How many 2-drops do we have here? You have 2 Dazzling Denial, so our 2 mana play could be to hold up a counter spell. Gossip's Talent. It's not really affecting the board, which is a bit of a problem, but you probably do want to get it down as early as possible, so that could be a turn 2 play. The Thought Shuckers. We'd be cutting cards if we went blue-green, so we might not want to splash black. Well, we wouldn't play Fountain Port Bell if we're just 2 colors. Sugarcoat, it would only enchant creatures. Maybe with 2 Dazzling Denials and a Hunter's Talent. And if we keep 1 Longstock Brawl, and then we wouldn't need Heaped Harvest in a 2-color deck. Birds, frogs, otters, and rats. We have 10 non-creature spells, so that goes well with the Flood Caller, I think it is. 1 bird, 5 frogs, 1 otter, 3 rats. So that's 3, 4, 9. So most of our creatures are the creature types that Valley Flood Caller cares about. If we splash black, what would we likely change? That's weird. Where's Heaped Harvest? There it is. Oh yeah, there's apparently a bug where you can't see cards that you cut until you change one of the settings in the search. So we'd be playing Heaped Harvest if we play black. We play Fountain Port Bell. We won't add Uncharted Haven. We're probably going to play that either way. I'm still not sure about splashing Tidecaller Mentor, but we'll throw it in there for now. And then Dire Sight. Could splash Psychic Whirl, although the number of black cards we're considering of playing, we're almost becoming a 3-color deck here. Hazel's Nocturne, Feed the Cycle, 2 Saver. Starscaped Cleric is not splashable, especially if you want to play for Offspring. I don't think you want to splash Scales of Shale. Could splash Psychic Whirl, and we do have rats. The 3-tree mascot, or whatever it's called, is fixing, but it's so mediocre, I don't think we include it here. So with the black removal and discard, we can probably cut the Longstock Brawl. And that means we can probably cut Junk Blade Bruiser. And probably cut the Dazzling Denials. Maybe we cut Kidnap. I'm not sure how much black we really want to splash. I mean, we're basically a 3-color deck with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black cards. Feed the Cycle could be hard to cast if we're not able to forage. But with 2 Savers making a food, Cash Grab won't make a food, but it'll fill the graveyard. I mean, it enables forage by itself because you're milling 4 cards. And Cash Grab is also going to graveyard. Now you're picking up one of those cards, but that's still 4 cards in your graveyard all in one go. So maybe Mentor and Psychic Whirl go. Hazel's Nocturne getting back a Dream Dew Entrancer or an Eddie Merc Crab seems pretty nice. Fountain Port Bell counts as a land. or you can treat it as a land because it can find you one. So with Fountain Port Bell and 15 other lands, that's basically 16 cards, and our curve isn't all that high. So that actually, this could be workable. Is this more powerful than just straight blue-green? We're down a creature, so Gossip's Talent and Hunter's Talent are slightly worse. You can always come back and revisit the deck in between games. I'm honestly not sure whether we want to go with the black splash. It's a heavy black splash. We're splashing 5 cards. Or we just go straight blue-green. This is a tough decision. Let's be experimental. We'll try this. If it doesn't work out, we can go back to straight blue-green. But with the extra black cards, could be very powerful. So I think we'll give it a shot like this, and we'll try it out and see how it works. Alright, so in that case, we basically just need to add lands and we're good to go. So let's get that sorted out and get into some gameplay. Okay, on the play. Unfortunately, I don't think we can keep this. The only spell we can cast is Overprotect. If one of those lands was an island, or honestly even a black source, I would consider it. Don't really want to go down to 6 on the play, but we don't really have much choice. We'll hope that one of the cards in our 6 will be Fountain Port Bell. Alright, well, I'm not sending this back. We do have an interactive spell, although it's really better with one of our creatures that we actively want to bounce, and a 2-drop we can play. Now, the problem might be is we went with 2 swamps, so maybe we have to go down a swamp and up an island or forest. I think it's got to be ahead of the homestead since we need double green for that and we don't have any green sources. If we can draw a green source, Cash Grab gets us close to enabling Threshold for Thought Chucker. What are the odds opponent plays Carrot Cake and hits us for 3 next turn? Thought Chucker can't block if they make this a 3-2. If they don't, I think we can take 1 damage. So I think we play Fountain Port Bell and get a green source. This also shuffles our Head of the Homestead back into the deck. Alright. Well, the good news... Oh, and we have all 3 colors. The good news is opponent didn't make a token, so Seasoned Warren Guard only hit us for 1. The bad news is that they played a great 2-drop on rate. It's a 3-2. They won't be able to give it indestructible just yet, but it's going to be able to attack past my Thought Chucker until I can fill the graveyard for Cash Grab. Fountain Port Bell has already put a card in the graveyard. Okay, so let's see here. Now if opponent plays a token creature, we could be in trouble. Alright, so they don't have a combat trick, or they would have sent the Warren Guard in. No blocks. No play. Interesting. We are flooding a little. Cash grab should hopefully let us find some action. And we can hold up Runaway together. If opponent goes for like a Mega Pump Bark Knuckle Boxer. Alright, we still take 3 here. Oh, Hunter's Talent. Oh. And Sticky Tongue Sentinel. This is a dilemma. I probably need to take Sticky Tongue Sentinel as a blocker. I have all my black removal and I have a swamp, so we'll do this kind of sad. And we're already 5 cards, and we drew Feed the Cycle. The only problem is we don't have... Oh, we can Forage. That does get us further from Thought Shocker. I think we play Uncharted Haven on black, so that if we don't need to cast Feed the Cycle next turn, we have the option of playing it without having to do Forage. Alright, Runaway together will actually be pretty good here. No blocks. Saber. Alright, so we can hold up Saber. Alright. Okay. Eddie Merc Crab, eh? And we've enabled Thought Shocker. We can do that at instant speed. and we could do everything. We can activate Thought Chucker, play Eddie Mark Crab, and feed the cycle as long as we play it with Forage. I guess I could have flashed in Eddie Mark Crab, but I really don't actually. I mean, I could block the Seasoned Warren Guard with Sticky Tongue Sentinel. Alright, well that's going to happen even if I do use instant speed removal, so I think we let this happen, let this resolve, and then we feed the cycle end of turn. Okay, thinking. Alright, well, I guess it's Phineas. We feed the cycle to Seed Pod Squire now. I think so. We might need the food. Dire Sight. Card draw is useful. Losing the 2 life, not that exciting. But having the card draw is good. Anyway, we won't be able to cast Head of the Homestead. So we played land for turn. I like both of these. opponent has yet to enable Warren Guard. Phineas does have reach. So if they have a combat trick, we lose our Seed Pod Squire for free. Opponent has something at instant speed. Beauregard Mentor. No tax. Oh, Dream Do Entrancer, you say? I don't quite think we're in a position to attack until we get probably Saber. And we draw 2 lands, that's too bad. We're down to 14 cards. We're going to have to start finding a way to close out the game. Head of the Homestead. I didn't mill the other Saber with the cash grab, did I? No, so I still have a Saber in the deck. Alright, so I think we can attack with the Head of the Homestead next turn. Opponent playing 3/3 Mascot. Does buff the Beauregard Mentor. Gossip's Talent. Well, its level 1 ability is not going to be that useful. Can we level it up all the way? That's 2, 4, 8. Yes, we can. So we could bounce like a Dream Do Entrancer or Head of the Homestead. That's unfortunate. Hopefully they don't have yet another sonar strike. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Opponent has something they can do at instant speed. This is really annoying. On the bright side, opponent finally is out of cards. They've been patient with their removal. Well, Heaped Harvest, not really a great draw right now, but it is a food. How many lands do we have left in the deck? 10, 11, 12. Did I mill any lands? No. So 4 lands left. I am going to bounce it. I've got lots of mana and I need the blocker. Okay, Mind Whisker is a good draw. So that means we leave Heaped Harvest until next turn. Baker's Bane Duo is a great green common. Fortunately, not doing the opponent a lot of good, although Beauregard Mentor is getting pretty big. Opponent could just consider attacking all out here. especially since Phineas gives a +1/+1 counter to all their other rabbits. So that means I want to hang on to Heaped Harvest until Alright, so opponent does have a lot of cards to get through before they start getting their removal back. Opponent has a card in hand that they seem to be able to cast at instant speed. So I believe we can flash in Heaped Harvest. Potshucker lets me surveil and draws a card. So I think we keep it, and it's another body. An opponent is still, even with the debuff from Mind Whisker, opponent still has a pretty threatening board, so... We are running low on cards. If opponent has seed pod removal for Seed Pod Squire, we might mill out. Alright, I think we keep that. Okay. That Burrow Mentor is getting pretty threatening, even with the debuff from Mind Whisker. Alright. So we play Long River Lurker. We target Eddy Merc Crab with it. We attack with Seed Pod Squire and Eddy Merc Crab. Both of them are unblockable. Seed Pod Squire buffs Eddy Merc Crab, so we do 9 damage. And then both creatures, we blink both creatures with Long River Lurker and Gossip's Talent's ability. Fountain is something they can do at instant speed, it looks like. Alright, we have 4 cards left. So I think we hold off on drawing Saver with Thought Shocker unless opponent attacks in. Which they might just do. I think they're going to... I think this is the turn they have to go for it. Flowerfoot Swordmaster, Bark Form Harvester, and 3-Tree Mascot are mice. So these are all mice that will be buffed if they trigger Valiant on Flowerfoot Swordmaster. We cast Saver. Our birds, frogs, otters, and rats all get +1/+1. Well, nothing I can do about that. Okay. So that's 7 power, 9 toughness. Alright. Wish I had a way of drawing that. You know, I should have sacked my Heaped Harvest end of turn on opponent's turn so that I would have got the last land out of the deck, although I have exactly 2 cards left, so that might not have been that great an idea. Okay. I can't really... I guess opponents, all of their creatures are tapped. So, I mean, I guess I can block with Seed Pod Squire since I just need 1 creature to survive to get through. Of course, if they have Rapid Response, I guess I'm dead. Alright, so we're taking 4. I block with all creatures and they have Rapid Response. All my creatures die, so... Wow, we got there. That was wild. On to the next one. Okay, we are in the draw. We were on the play last time, which probably helped, even though we went down to 6. But we have all 3 colors. Runaway Together, we basically can't cast till turn 4. We could ramp with Heaped Harvest, and we have Flood Color and Mind Whisker. So, I think we try it. So I think that... Oh, we drew Savor. That's nice. That's good. That could help us with a turn 2 play. Anyway, I didn't make any changes to the deck after game 1. I mean, we won the game, so that says something. And the black cards were all very useful. And we seem to be able to make the splash work. Uh-oh. Builder's Talent could be good. Putting +1/+1 counters on their creatures. Alright, I like Sticky Tongue, Sentinel, Bounce, Pawn, Profit. Alright, so the next turn, it's Pawn, Profit, and Hold Up, Savor, and Runaway Together. Gross. And they have Hunter's Talent. Okay. Well, our odds of winning this game have dropped considerably. Alright. The opponent is down to 1 card in hand. Don't really want to draw lands, but drawing with all the extra card draw off Pawn Profit, I guess it's not that bad. Alright, I think we Savor now to kill Beauregard Mentor before it gets out of hand. They can't. If they draw land, they can offspring Finch formation, but there's not much we can do about that. I think we can play Heaped Harvest here. Play Uncharted Haven on green. Alright, so opponent's land comes into play tapped. The offspring, the Tender Wild Guide. Dream, Do, Entrancer, you say? Alright, opponent surveils the land in the graveyard. They can offspring Finch formation. Opponent doesn't attack. That's a mistake. I mean, it was a free attack. Alright, do I have two creatures in my graveyard? I just have the Sticky Tongue Sentinel. So this isn't doing much for me right now. One can start buffing the Wild Guides. We still have one black removal spell left. And there it is. Pawpatch formation can destroy an enchantment. If I destroy Hunter's Talent, they just get it back with Builder's Talent. So I have to destroy Builder's Talent. I don't need Valley Flood Caller in play right now, I don't think. So let's hold up Feed the Cycle. It's got Flash, so I can always flash it in end of turn if the opponent doesn't do anything that I need to respond to. Dream, Do, Entrancer has reach. They can get Heaped Harvest back. With Builder's Talent after they sacrifice it. So I think I have to destroy Builder's Talent on my turn. Don't really need the bell here, although cantripping's not the worst. Alright, Seed Pod Squire. Attack with Dream Dew in transfer, they just attack with the wall. I could also destroy the Finch formation. Of course they had Curious Forager. That means they can leave Heaped Harvest in the graveyard and get back Builder's Talent. Oh, they got back Beauregard Mentor. Still only have Sticky Tongue Sentinel in the graveyard. Oh, I could have attacked with the Dream Dew and transfer. That was a mistake. Well, now I know what I'm getting back with my Hazel's Nocturne. Of course they had Longstock Brawl. Alright, we're going to deck before opponent, so we have to find a way of closing out the game. Head to the homestead is good here. Can I cast that and Seed Pod Squire? That's 9 mana. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, I do have 9 mana. Okay. Opponent can do something. It might just be activating the wild guides. Wouldn't mind drawing my own Gossip's Talent. On the bright side, their wild guides are too big to benefit from it. Cash grab, I think I don't want here. I think I need card draw to keep up with the hunter's talent. Okay, let's hold up Overprotect. Uh-oh. Opponent has definitely got 10 lands in play. Now my Mind Whisker is working against me because the fucking green shell is triggering. Well, I think we're losing this game now for sure. Fucking green shell is the card with the highest win rate on 17 lands, I believe. And I'm all out of removal. We just got outbombed by opponent. And that's going to happen sometimes in Sealed. And they have another Burrowguard mentor. Of course they do. Oh, and the green shell has reach. Because everything has reach. I don't have any way of recurring non-creature spells from my graveyard. Maybe we take another look at our sealed pool. If I draw Gossip's Talent, and they can just give their giant creatures trample. I'm going to be too slow to beat opponent. Can I kill opponents if I tap down 2 of their creatures? Doing, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, but they'll still have 2 blockers. And then I'm dead on the crackback. Alright, opponents try lining up how much toughness I have. Trying to see if they can alpha strike me. I haven't really been commenting much. This game has been really intense, so I have to apologize for that. Opponent is down to 7 cards. So if there's even the remotest chance I could survive, which there isn't. Alright, I think we're just done here. Good game. Opponent drew too many cards, didn't have enough answers, and they outbombed me. Well, that's too bad. Armageddon here. I'm dividing this video into two parts because it's already quite long and the rest of the games are also pretty long as well. So the next part will feature the rest of the games in our sealed event and looking at our deck again. Here we go.